Today's video is brought to you by Squarespace.
Start it up.
It is summer of 2023, and I have never had the same question asked of me so many dang times, and it is, should I buy this action camera or should I buy this action camera? The GoPro Hero 11 Black versus the DJI Action 3. That's what we're gonna talk about today. These cameras both came out about 8 months ago. They came out on the same exact day. I made a video about each of them, and I made a comparison video side by side between them. But in those 8 months, a lot has changed with how I feel about these two cameras. If you jump around the chapters below, make sure you watch the battery life section. It's pretty important. And at the end of this video, I will tell you which of these two cameras I think you should buy, or rather which of these cameras would I buy? If I was gonna go on a trip right now in summer of 2023, I didn't own either of these cameras, which of them would I go pick up? That's what I'm gonna tell you today. I think I'm gonna make some people kind of mad. People always get mad during these comparison videos, and this one's for sure gonna make some people mad. Before I jump into the update on these two cameras, I want you to watch a side-by-side of camera A versus camera B, but I'm not gonna tell you which camera is which. I want you to just look at the video quality, hear some of the audio quality, see the stabilization on these cameras, and tell me what you prefer. Preference between these two cameras is very, very important. So I want you to just watch this without knowing which camera is which, and tell me what you think.
Oh no! Oh no!
Here are both of the cameras with a very simple audio test. This is just the cameras right now. There's no external microphones put on there. This is just straight out of camera, how this would sound walking around. Camera A, how does camera A sound? Just the camera, no microphones added on. And camera B, how does camera B sound? Just the camera, no microphones added on. We're gonna hop on the skateboard here so you can get a little bit of wind, and you'll see, I think both cameras don't do great when you add some wind. All right, just cruising along very slowly right here on the skateboard. This is if maybe you were running or you were on a bike going very slowly as well. How do these cameras sound when you add a little bit of wind? Camera A, how does camera A sound with the wind? Wind is in my face right now. Camera B, how does camera B sound with the wind? These cameras, they just don't do great when you add some wind. So just based on seeing that, which did you like better, camera A or camera B? Again, I'm not gonna tell you which was which just yet, but comment below, let me know before you know the answer, which did you actually like better. But in comparing action cameras, there's sort of four main categories that I look at. I look at image quality, I look at audio quality, I look at stabilization because they're action cameras, and then I look at like a bugginess factor, like how well do they work? How well does the screen work? Do I have shutoffs? Do I have weird things kind of popping up in them? Bugginess factor is what we'll call it. And on the first category of image quality, I think they're almost identical now. When they launched, the GoPro had 10-bit color and the Action 3, it only had 8-bit color. And that is a massive difference between 16.7 million colors and 1 billion colors. But the Action 3 updated that through firmware, and we now have 10-bit color on the Action 3. So I think quality-wise, when you look at the footage side by side, I don't think you could say one is quality-wise better, but I do think that there's a significant preference that you're gonna have for one over the other. And mainly that's in that the GoPro has a little more contrast, it's a little warmer, and it's a little punchier overall. And on the Action 3, they seem to be more neutral, a little more green, a little more blue. I would say this looks a little more natural, and this still has that GoPro look, which some people absolutely love, which is why GoPro has been so successful for so long. Now, I would prefer the footage coming straight out of the Action 3, but there's one big exception, and that is underwater. Underwater, I think the GoPro looks significantly better than the Action 3. When you put them side by side and you look at something underwater, this just looks more natural. It looks more real to life, and these guys, they seem to lean a little bluer and a little greener. But what did you like better? Because in that little side by side, the GoPro was camera B and the Action 3 was camera A. Now onto audio quality. They're action cameras. They're pretty much the same audio quality wise. If you just hear them without any sort of microphone on, just straight out of the camera, I'd say they sound both decent, and then they both break down pretty quickly with any sort of wind. But in the audio realm, they also both have different solutions to make them sound better. The GoPro has the media mod. We've all seen the media mod. You pop that into there, and now you have a microphone on here, which takes the internal mics and makes them slightly better. But then you can add on a microphone on top of here, like a Rode Video Micro, and now all of a sudden the GoPro sounds pretty dang good. And this right here is the GoPro with the media mod and Rode Video Micro added on there. So this mic, one, it's shotgun mic, so it's really trying to focus on just my voice, but also there's a big fluffy wind muff on there. So this is going to do much, much better in any sort of windy conditions. If you're walking around with your GoPro and you're vlogging with your GoPro, you kind of want to have one of these on there mainly for that wind muff and more of that voice isolation. But the Action 3, I think it one-ups it because the Action 3 is made by DJI, and so is the DJI wireless mic system. And this whole wireless mic system that can work with your big cameras, it can work with your cell phone, it can also work with this action camera. And here is the Action 3 with that wireless mic system plugged in. Again, the microphone is right here. So no matter where the camera is, I can mount this microphone on me. I can mount it on my shirt. I can mount it on the back of my helmet and run a lav to it. But I have a fully wireless mic system now for my action camera. So I can walk around and do different things and demonstrate things, or go over here, go over there. I am wirelessly beaming my audio back to my action camera just with this thing. That audio solution has been, again, probably the best action camera audio solution in the game right now. And I already have it in my bag all the time because I use it for these videos all the time. Next, let's jump to stabilization on these cameras. And again, I gotta say, this one's about a tie because the stabilization is bananas on both cameras. Hypersmooth on the Hero 11 and Rocksteady on the Action 3. They are both so ridiculously good now that nobody needs an action camera gimbal. Like, pop these things on a stick, pop them on a mount, go do whatever you want, and they both look ridiculously stable. So image quality, audio quality, stabilization, all sort of a tie between the two cameras. A lot of preference is gonna be built into those three. But what's not built in is the bugginess factor. And while the Hero 11 is probably the least buggy GoPro of all time, it still has its bugs. It still has its moments where you do have to do the GoPro reset. If you don't know what a GoPro reset is, you pop open the door because your camera has frozen, you take the battery out, you wait like 10 seconds, you put it back in, and then your camera, it can turn back on. But in that moment, you might have just lost the clip that you were recording, or maybe you were underwater scuba diving or something like that, and your camera froze up, and while you're down there, you can't take the battery out. So you just go, I guess I can't use my GoPro for the rest of this dive. Again, the Hero 11 is the least buggy of any GoPro that's ever been made. They really did a good job focusing on making this a more stable camera. But the Action 3 has been perfect. I haven't had a single issue with the screen or the battery or it locking up or it freezing. This camera, when they first launched it, they said professional and reliable. I think those are like the two main things that they said about this camera. And they're right. When you press the button on this camera, you know that no matter what situation you're in, it's gonna record, you're gonna get the clip. So video quality, kind of a tie. Audio quality, kind of a tie. Stabilization, kind of a tie. Bugginess factor, the Action 3 has a significant lead, but one of the biggest kind of user experience bits of these two cameras is battery life, and battery life in different scenarios. And I went nuts testing these two cameras over the last 3 weeks. The results are pretty shocking. Before we get to battery life though, let me take one moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, Squarespace. If somehow you don't already know about Squarespace, they are the all-in-one website building platform that I have used for the past 10 years for my photography business. And they're what I'm using to currently set up a new website for this channel. It's what I recommend everyone uses. All my friends that have started businesses, my wife, she has a band, all on Squarespace. Now, why did I choose Squarespace? Why do I recommend Squarespace so much? It's pretty much the all-in-one nature of Squarespace, the ease of use, and the customer service support. First off, everything on Squarespace is on Squarespace. So I was able to buy my domain on Squarespace. I was able to download one of their professional templates and really easily customize my website through Squarespace. I was able to set up my email address through Squarespace. All my contact forms are through Squarespace. My marketing is through Squarespace. Everything I do for my website is all on Squarespace. I don't have to worry about plugins or linking other sites together or maintaining my website, because with Squarespace, they have 24/7 award-winning customer support, so that when anything does go wrong, I have someone there that's gonna be able to walk me through it, hold my hand, and just say, hey, everything's gonna be all right. We're gonna get your website back up. Everything's gonna be fine. Don't worry that you mess it up so badly. Usually it's my fault when something goes wrong. I go, yeah, I'm sorry. I did this and that. And then they go, yeah, don't worry about it. We got it fixed. If you wanna get started with a Squarespace website, shoot over to squarespace.com and sign up for a totally free trial. Download a template and start designing it into your website. Once you're ready to go live, you can save a few bucks by using code David Manning for 10% off at checkout. Okay, back to battery life. Battery life has been huge on these two cameras. Now, when they first launched, we knew that the Action 3 had more battery life. We have a 1720 milliamp battery over here and a 1770 milliamp battery on the Action 3. And GoPro claimed 137 minutes out of this battery, and DJI said 160 minutes out of this battery. That is 17% more battery life in the claimed numbers. But real world use case is so different than like how they test these cameras. One, because they have the screens turned off for their testing. I have both screens turned on. I use my screens the whole time I'm filming, almost always. So all of my tests were done with rear screen and front screen on. I think brightness just set to like medium on there. I had these two cameras in about 72 degrees Fahrenheit. I think that's like 21.5 Celsius. And I had them outside, so plenty of airflow going around them. And I just test them over and over and over again. I got a ton of batteries for these things, and I burned them all. And the results were eye-opening. At 4K 30, the Hero 11 was averaging 71 minutes before the battery died. So GoPro said 137 minutes, but if you have the screens on, I was getting 71 minutes out of this guy. And then with the Action 3 at 4K 30, I was seeing 96 minutes. Again, they said 160 minutes, but with screens on, I was seeing 96 minutes of battery life versus 71 minutes of battery life over here. And that is 35% more battery life out of the Action 3 than the Hero 11. At 4K 120, the GoPro, the battery died, it didn't overheat, but it died at 63 minutes, and this guy died at 81 minutes, which is 28% more battery life. So 4K 60 or 4K 30, you're somewhere between 28 and 35% more battery life on the Action 3 over the Hero 11. But what about people that are really gonna stress these cameras, really push them to the test? At 4K 120, the GoPro made it 26 minutes before overheating. So 26 minutes on average. I saw a couple where it made it to like 34 minutes, and then a couple where it wasn't quite 26 minutes, but on average 26 minutes before overheating at 4K 120. And on this guy, I did not get an overheat at 4K 120. 72 degrees Fahrenheit, 4K 120, this thing recorded for 64 minutes before the battery died at 4K 120. And 26 minutes versus 46 minutes, that is 146% more battery life out of the Action 3 than the GoPro Hero 11. And I already hear people in the comments saying like, well, you would never film at 4K 120 for that long. We're stress testing these cameras. Like, the point isn't that you would be filming at those rates for this long. It's just that if you press these cameras as hard as they can go, who breaks first? And clearly the Hero 11 breaks first. For most people, you won't have this issue because you won't be filming for 20 minutes at 4K 120. But if you are, you should know that this guy is gonna overheat. And then lastly, in the battery test, I took these two cameras and I put them into a freezer at 0 degrees. So more of like a snowboarding test. Like, you're either gonna take these out snowboarding, or I have a friend that's going up to the Arctic to film birds in nests. And he asked me which of these cameras I should take. And I said, well, lucky for you, I just tested them in a freezer like 40 times. And the Hero 11 at 0 degrees Fahrenheit made it 67 minutes before the battery died, and the Action 3 made it 95 minutes before the battery died. That is 42% more battery life in freezing conditions. That is significant in your actual use case of these two cameras. And then other notes that I've experienced between these two cameras and that I've heard from you guys, the quick switch button is amazing on this camera. Check out my initial video if you wanna learn more about that quick switch button and why why I'm so shocked that GoPro has not copied that yet, because they totally should. They should just wholesale copy that feature from the Action 3 onto whatever their next camera, GoPro 12. On the app experience with both of these cameras, they're both good apps, but there's one feature within the apps that the Action 3 is much better at, and lots of people on the GoPro have now really complained about this, and that is that on the DJI app, I can set this camera up maybe on the outside of my car. I can preview what I'm seeing on my phone through the app, and then when I hit record, I can still see what I'm recording through the camera on the outside of my car on my phone. On the GoPro, it just goes black. So you can preview what you're about to record on the GoPro so that you can get your shot right. But as soon as you hit record on the app, the preview goes away, it goes black. And I know for a lot of people that is a big deal. And I hear your complaints. I don't know the reason still. I still think it's like a legal thing. Like, I don't think that they have the rights to be able to do that within the app for some reason. And somehow DJI does have the rights to do that. And then lastly is the price. The Action 3 is cheaper than the GoPro still. The GoPro is still at $399, and this guy is at $329. You can bundle this guy out. It gives you the really slick looking battery charger. It gives you 2 extra batteries and this triple charger that charges up with 1 USB-C, gives you that. You also get their DJI Action pole, and you get all this for $429. If you build the same one on the GoPro side and you get their dual charger, I think it's a dual charger plus 2 batteries. And if you got like their El Grande stick, I think you're above 500 mark. So with all of that said, video quality about the same, audio quality about the same, stabilization about the same. This guy is significantly more stable of a device. You just know that when you hit the button, it is going to record. It has longer battery life. It does better with overheating. It does better with freezing temperatures. In all those categories that really matter to how you use these cameras, if someone was to ask me in the summer of 2023, should I buy a GoPro Hero 11 or a DJI Action 3? I would say Action 3. I would buy the Action 3 right now over the Hero 11, which is weird to say. This is the very first time on this channel or in life, like people ask me my opinion on this stuff all the time. I've never not said, spend the extra money and get the Hero 11. Especially for my friend who's headed to the Arctic to film birds in the Arctic, I was like, dude, you should buy the Action 3 100%. It does way better in those scenarios. People that are gonna be in hotter scenarios, this does better. Just overall, it's a more stable camera. It has that super slick mounting system that I have kind of fallen in love with. I am very sorry to all GoPro fans. If you have a GoPro or you have the Hero 11, look, this is an amazing camera. I do still love this camera. It is really, really great. But when you put them head to head, if you didn't have either of them, I can't see the reason why you would buy the Hero over the Action 3. Yeah, let me know your thoughts below. I wanna hear your comments. I wanna hear what you guys think of the Hero 11 versus the Action 3. I think this is it's a debate that's gonna continue to rage on. I hope we see a Hero 12 that's even better than this camera, and this guy tries to get better again. I wanna see competition. That just means that we all get a better camera. But right now, I would go buy this camera. I'm sorry for all the GoPro fans out there. Yeah, let me know what you think. I'll see you soon. Bam! Ow! Right in the eye.
Cheese.